Good morning, children. Sai Ram. Welcome to the revision session of Chapter 3 of History, Part 2, that is the Delhi Sultans. Now, children, in this session, we are going to look at the first set of campaigns and the second expansion. So, now let us begin with the first expansion, children. The first set of campaigns along the internal frontiers of the Sultanate aimed at consolidating the hinterlands of garrison towns. The forests were cleared in the Ganga Yamuna Doab, and hunter gatherers and pastoralists expelled from their habitat. Now, these lands were given to peasants and agriculture was encouraged. New fortresses and towns were established to protect trade routes and to promote regional trade. Now, let us look at the second expansion. The second expansion occurred along the external frontiers of the Delhi Sultanate. Military expeditions into southern India started during Alauddin Khalji's rule, and it culminated with Muhammad Tughlaq. Sultanate armies captured elephants, horses, and slaves, and also carried away precious metals in their campaigns. By the end of Muhammad Tughlaq's reign, the armies of the Delhi Sultanate had marched across a large part of the subcontinent. They defeated rival armies and seized cities. The Sultanate controlled taxes from peasantry and dispensed justice in its reign. So basically, how did the expansion of Delhi Sultanate take place? The expansion took place along the internal frontier or the first set of campaign or the first expansion, and the external frontier, that is the second expansion. Now, let us have a closer look at the administration under the Delhi Sultans. So, basically, let us see a closer look at the administration and consolidation under the Khaljis and Tughlaqs. So, children, in the early kings of Delhi Sultans appointed their special slaves for military service. They were called Bandagan in Persian language. They were appointed to consolidate their kingdom. The slaves were carefully trained and they were totally dependent on their master and were trustworthy to Sultan. The Khaljis and the Tughlaqs continued to use Bandagan and also raised people of humble birth who were often their clients. Clients means what, children? Clients means dependent on, okay? So they were often their clients to high political positions. They were appointed as generals and governors. However, children, this created political instability. The slaves and clients were loyal to their masters and patrons, but not to new Sultan. The new Sultan had their own servants. As a result, the accession of a new monarch often saw conflict between the old and the new nobility. The patronage of these humble people by the Delhi Sultans shocked many elites and the authors of Persian Tariq criticized the Delhi Sultans for appointing the low and base born to high authorities, that is, high offices. Now, let us look at the administration and the consolidation under the Khaljis and the Tughlaqs. The first is the law and the order. So, just like the sultans, the Khaljis and Tughlaq monarchs appointed military commanders as governors of territories of different sizes. These territories were called Iqta and their holder territories were called Iqtidar or Mukti. So these territories were called Iqta and their holders of what? Holders of the territories. They were called what? Iqtidar or Mukti. The duties of the Mukti was to lead military campaigns and maintain law and order in their Iqtas. In exchange of their military services, the Muktis collected the revenues of their assignments as salary. They also paid their soldiers from these collected revenues. Control over Muktis was highly effective only if their office was not inheritable and if they were assigned Iqta for a short time span. These harsh conditions of service were under the rule of Alauddin Khalji and Muhammad Tughlaq. Accountants were appointed by the state to check the amount of revenue collected by the Mukti. The Muktis collected only the taxes prescribed by the state and kept the required number of soldiers. Now let us move on to the next one, that is taxes and land revenue. So children, under Alauddin Khalji, the state brought the assessment and collection of land revenue under its own control. The rights of the local chieftains to levy taxes were cancelled and they were forced to pay taxes. The Sultan's administration measured the land and kept careful accounts. The Sultan's administrators, they measured the land and they kept careful accounts of the same. Some of the old chieftains and landlords served as revenue collectors and assessors. So who are revenue collectors? The one who collect the revenue, and assessors are the one who scrutinize or check it. Okay, so it was their duty. So now what were the types of taxes? There were 3 types of taxes, children. As I said, there were how many types of taxes, children? There were 3 types of taxes. Now what were they? First one was on cultivation, called kharaj, and it was up to 50% of the total peasants' produce. So whatever the peasant used to produce, up to 50% was to be paid as tax, called kharaj. Okay. Then the next one was on cattle, and there was one more tax which was on houses. Now let us revise about the rule in distant areas. Children, it is important to note that large parts of the subcontinent, it remained outside the control of the Delhi Sultan. It was difficult to control distant provinces like Bengal from Delhi. Okay, and soon after annexing southern India, the entire region became independent. Children, even the Gangetic plain, there was There were forested areas that the Sultanate forces could not penetrate. The local chieftains established their rules in these regions. Rulers like Alauddin Khalji and Muhammad Tughlaq could force their control, but for a very short period of time. Now let us revise about the attacks by Mongols. Now, the Mongols under the Genghis Khan invaded Transoxiana in northeast Iran in 1219, and the Delhi Sultanate faced their onslaught soon after it. So under Genghis Khan, the Mughals, they invented what? They invented Transoxiana, where in the northeast Iran, and in which year? In the year 1219. Okay. The Mongol attacks on the Delhi Sultanate increased during the reign of Alauddin Khalji and in the early years of Muhammad Tughlaq's rule. Now, this forced the two rulers to mobilize a large standing army in Delhi, which posed a huge administrative challenge. So, children, now let us revise about the Sultanate in the 15th and the 16th century. Now, children, after the Tughlaqs, the Sayyid and the Lodi dynasties ruled from Delhi and Agra until 1526. By then, Jaunpur, Bengal, Malwa, Gujarat, Rajasthan and the entire South India had independent rulers who established flourishing states and prosperous capitals. This was also the period which saw the emergence of new ruling groups like the Afghans and the Rajputs. Some of the states established in this period were small but powerful and extremely well administered. Sher Shah Sur, who ruled from 1540 to 1545, started his career as a manager of a small territory for his uncle in Bihar and eventually challenged and defeated the Mughal Emperor Humayun. Sher Shah captured Delhi and established his own dynasty. Although the Sur dynasty ruled for only 15 years, it introduced an administration that borrowed elements from Alauddin Khalji and made them more efficient. Sher Shah's administration became the model followed by the great Emperor Akbar when he consolidated the Mughal Empire. Now is the time for your favorite session, that is quiz time. So let us begin. Let us identify whether the following sentences are true or false. First one, Delhi first became the capital of the kingdom under the Tomara Rajputs. Is it true or false, children? What do you think is the correct answer? The correct answer is true. Citizens were known as Bandhagan. What do you think is the correct answer, children? Is it true or false? The answer is false. Genghis Khan invaded India and left India untouched. Do you think it is true, children? Do you think that he invaded India and did not take anything from here? Answer is false. Iqtidar was also known as Mukti. Yes, this is correct statement. So Iqtidar was also known as Mukti. So this is true. Now let us see the answers once again. Delhi first became the capital of a kingdom under the Tomara Rajputs. The answer is true. Citizens were known as Bandhagan. Answer is false. Genghis Khan invaded India and left India untouched. Answer is false again. And Iqtidar was also known as Mukti. The answer is true. So with this, I end the revision session for this particular chapter. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye and keep learning.